Support from the Meeple Minded comes from listeners like you. The next time you're looking for that new geek-tastic purchase, why not support us by using our affiliate link, where we get a small percentage of the total at no extra cost to you. Go to thecomicshop.co.uk/Meeple Minded. Thank you for your support. What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded podcast, the podcast where we talk all things tabletop gaming. My name is Jason.
And I'm James.
How are you doing, James?
Not too bad, mate, not too bad.
Good. It's been an interesting couple of weeks.
Yes.
I think by the time this comes out, the events that we're talking about would have been about 2-3 weeks ago, because we're recording batches nowadays, which is great. But yeah, we missed a week, didn't we? We missed a week of recording because I had a few issues that I had to deal with.
Yes.
Couple that with the fact that it was roasting hot, I was in no fit state to be sitting and recording and editing. So we skipped a week on the releases, which I still apologise for. But you know, personal life comes first. But anyway, apart from that, James, how are you? How have you been?
Oh, I'm very good, thanks, Jason.
Yeah. How's personal life been treating you?
Not too bad.
Apart from one thing.
Yes, apart from having to get my car fixed.
Yes. You had car issues this time.
I did.
It wasn't work issues, it was car issues this time.
Indeed.
How is it all fixed now?
It is all sorted, all good.
At least you've got it fixed and you've finally managed to come over, and we've actually been playing a game this evening.
We
James.
have played a game this evening.
It feels like it's been way too long, because we didn't play at club this week because I have my son this week. So, you know, parent duty, not really able to play the games that I want to play. But we've managed to squeeze in a game this evening.
We have.
And it's actually, ironically, the game we were also going to be talking about
I
today.
know, it's almost like we planned it, Jason.
Well, I don't think we did. It's a nice quick game to get in before pressing the record button on this here lovely device. But yes, we played a game, Project L. How have you enjoyed it?
I really like this game.
Yeah, spoilers. James likes it.
I do like this game.
That's a good thing, because now we've given a little bit of a spoiler away, so that the listeners can now spend the whole episode not listening to a thing we say, but they try and figure out what your Meeple rating will be.
Yes.
So we can say whatever we want. But yes, should we dive straight into talking about this game, James?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's do it. What is Project L? Well, Project L is a fast-paced, open drafting and tile placement game released by Boardcubator in 2020 or 2021. I think the listed release in 2020 was actually when the Kickstarter was, but I think the game was released in 2021. The game is for 1 to 4 players, aged 8 and up, and has an estimated playtime of 20 to 40 minutes. And at the time of recording, this game, James, is available in retail for £22. In Project L, players take 3 actions per turn to draft tiles, use your collection of acrylic, air quotes, Tetris shapes to complete puzzles on your drafted tiles, and you can also upgrade or downgrade the shapes that you have. Doing so uses an action, but with the ultimate aim of completing the greatest number of point-scoring puzzles and scoring the most points at the end of the game. That is the basic rundown of Project L. James, what comes in the box when you buy Project L?
Okay, Jason, in this box you get 32 white puzzles, 20 black puzzles, 90 play pieces, and 4 player mats.
That has got to be the quickest components you've ever done.
Yep, 4 lines.
Wow. Okay, so I was hoping to get a cup of tea during that, but off the bat, this game appealed to me on its theme, because let's be honest, this is all but Tetris in modern board game form, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I've had the Tetris music playing in my head constantly, every time I play this game.
I don't find it as soul-destroying as Tetris, because I was never any good at Tetris. You know, the fact that, you know, the pieces drop down from above and they get progressively faster. But yes, the pieces are Tetris shapes, and you're just trying to solve the puzzle in front of you. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you're not going to get the pieces speeding up. Maybe that's like a house rule. Maybe we should just introduce somebody throwing the pieces at you.
That would be interesting, yeah. Getting progressively faster.
Yeah, just random ones. I don't even need that bit. Tough, it's the one you're getting.
Now, that would be actually quite interesting. I'd be up for trying that, especially if I'm the person throwing the pieces. You know, as we're talking about components, I'd like to talk about the quality, because the actual shapes that you get, the Tetris shapes, are, I believe they're acrylic, and you know, I don't know if this will come out on the thing, but you get that lovely, you know, that's just 2 pieces. Now imagine a whole bag full of these things.
Yeah,
it's lovely. It just screams quality to you.
Yeah, I do like the components in this game. You know, the acrylic pieces are nice. The actual puzzle tiles, which look like coasters, are nice, like double punch board.
They're dual layered.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So the pieces actually slot into them, which is a must for this game.
Well, I mean, you say it's a must. I mean, they could easily have just printed these on card, couldn't they? And you could easily put them on top, but having that dual layered aspect where they are put in place and then they stay there, is pretty damn good.
I would say it's a must. If this wasn't dual layered, I would mark this game down severely for that. But they are, so it's all good.
Yes. The actual individual player boards, now they are just printed on card. However, they've done a very good job with it. I think they're very nice and clean. Yep. And that's another thing I'd like to say about this game. When it comes to the components of this game, you've got the player boards and the the draftable tiles. They are black and they are white. They are very clean, very modern styling, which really makes the brightly coloured Tetris shapes pop on the boards. And I think that's a really, really good design choice. While a lot of people might look at it, I mean, I'll bring in the box art at this point. The box itself is very unappealing. Like, if I didn't know what the game was, the box front is black with Project and then a 3D L behind it on it. It's very, very bland. However, once you get into the game, that modern art, clean styling, I guess, is the best way of doing it. Or modern office, actually. This is modern office.
Yeah.
It looks so cool.
But yeah, I'd like to go back to the player boards for a second, because everything you need to know is on that player board, and it's really well laid out as well, even down to the positionings for your puzzles and your victory pile. Everything is in front of you. All your actions are listed in front of you. I think that's really well designed. Yeah,
incredibly well designed. And you've obviously got the different levels of Tetris pieces on there, which levels, because obviously, as we said, there's upgrading and downgrading. It makes it very simple for anyone playing this game. And if you're teaching this game, it's as simple as, right, James, you get 3 actions. All 3 actions you can do are written right there on your player board.
Yep.
And they tell you what each of those actions do, what you can and can't do with it, what the pieces do. There is very little teaching to this game, and I love that. So, graphic design on this game is fantastic. I cannot fault it at all. As I've said, visually I like it. It's a nice eye-popping game on the table. Doesn't take up too much space on the table, which is another great thing.
Yep.
Especially at a game that can go from 1 to 4 players. It would have been cool to maybe have the additional 2 game boards, so this could be a 1 to 6 player game, but I think we'll have a discussion about gameplay later as to where this game sits perfectly. But yeah, component wise, if I was giving it a rating out of 10, I can't fault it at all. I genuinely, I'd be hitting the 9/10 out of 10 on components. So that's my 2 pennies worth on the components, James. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I think we've covered the components quite well there, Josh.
Nice. Well, let's talk about the gameplay.
Indeed, let's do it.
Bit. What do you think about the gameplay, James?
On the whole, I think it's really good. I do have a few things to say, though, but we will get to that.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. All right, well, I'll start off with a couple of things that I like about the game, shall we? So, first and foremost, I've already touched on it a little bit. Could this game be simpler to teach? No, it can't. It's that easy. This is the simplest game I've ever taught in my entire gaming career. I love this game. It's definitely going to be one that I will teach quite a lot. I love the open drafting of tiles during this game. So for context of how the table will be set out, you have 2 piles. You have white backed tiles and black backed tiles, and you'll have a pile of each of those, and then 4 face up on the table in front of you. On your turn, you can then draft from those face up tiles. Everyone that you take gets replenished straight away, and of course every one you take, that's an action. So that's the basic board layout. I love that open drafting mechanic. This is where I start to point out the differences, because in a 2-player game, I love that mechanic because it adds the tension. It adds the whole thing of going on in my mind of, I really want that tile, but I don't really want to waste an action on it right now. But James could well be looking at what what pieces I've got and which ones I could complete really quickly, and then take that away from me which could cost me points. It could cost me extra pieces. Whereas in a 4-player game, my mind switches to numbers. It's like, well, what's the likelihood that that one is going to get back to me if I don't take it now?
Yep.
But if I do take it now, I can do this. And that's where I think this game is brilliant. I find that this game changes with the different player levels. What about you?
Yeah, it does. I'm not actually a fan of this game at the full player count of 4.
Okay.
Because as much as I like the random drafting, unlike the actual game Tetris, where the difficulty scales, this doesn't. It is completely, you just shuffle the pile and you could end up with some really, really hard puzzles when all you've got is a single piece and a double piece to work with. I kind of get the feeling that they should have somehow been, because they're face down in the pile. On the other side, there should have been a difficulty marker, and you separate them into 3 piles, like easy, medium, and hard, and then shuffle them in that age so that the puzzles get progressively harder as they come out, but don't completely screw you over.
Okay.
Like the one time we played a 4-player, I was player 4.
Yeah.
So it took me 3 rounds to get out of the gate because of the sheer randomness of the way they came out.
Yeah.
Because I could literally do nothing with the 2 pieces that I had.
Yeah, I mean, the game that we played just before going live today, the first draw we had was
horrific.
A stinker. And I made the mistake because I immediately took 3, knowing full well that I wouldn't be able to complete them, and was hoping that on my next round that there will be a 4th one that I could take and complete that and start getting bits to fill in those others. But that's the key thing here, is you do have to remember you can only have 4 tiles in front of you.
Yep.
At any one time. And by me taking 3 for a good 3 or 4 turns, I was really on the back foot and was starting to panic because I saw you were starting to pile up points.
I was
pieces.
running away with it, and you won it by about 3 points, but it took you forever to get going.
I think all of the points that I got all came in the last 2-3 rounds.
That's why it would be my niggle with this game is there should be a way to scale the difficulty of the puzzles, and so that you've got a pile of easy, he says in inverted commas, and then medium, and then as they come out, they're going to get progressively difficult, but you're not going to end up with a complete stinker on the first draw that everyone's looking at going, I've got 2 pieces that requires at least 8 to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, obviously they are split in a certain way because the black cards are substantially harder. They will require either bigger pieces and or more pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. Like, the white stack is quite substantial, and yeah, they do get shuffled. But as you said, luck of the draw says eventually you're going to get some real stinkers that come out in that first round.
Yeah, it's just a
again,
mechanic.
There's too much luck there, really.
A mechanic of some way to push at least a few of the easy ones to the top. So it's like, you're not going to get completely shafted on the first draw, and it's like you might actually be able to get going.
I liked the uphill battle. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed the uphill battle. But
yeah, and this is why it's a lot easier to overcome that problem in a 2-player game. In a 4-player game, it can be merciless. I think I got about 10 points in that 4-player game because it was just, I could never get going, and the ones that I needed are obviously going to get drafted out way before I get a chance to get them.
I mean, you actually completed quite a few puzzles, but I think the problem really with that one was you were getting the puzzles that didn't have points, but they had the bonuses of getting more pieces.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, well, I can see what you're doing. You're building up the pieces so that you can complete those bigger puzzles that get you the points. But it was too little too late, I think, because there was someone in the game, which actually is going to segue me on nicely to how this game runs. They were just hitting those black tiles constantly, hitting the black tiles. Now, the game length here, James, is interesting because there is no set amount of rounds. It's all based on the black tiles.
Yeah.
So the second that last black tile gets flipped over, that triggers the end of the game. So you finish that round, so that everyone has an even amount of turns, then everyone gets one more round, and that's it.
Another thought I'm having, though, the higher player counts, so you get 4 of each puzzles, is potentially to scale that with the amount of players. So you get 4 black and 4 white at a 2-player, 4 black, 5 white at a 3-player, 4 black, 6 white at a 4-player, just so that there's a couple more.
I mean, I guess you could do that, yeah. you could do
That's
that.
another way to do it rather than having them random, because it just gives you. This game is like, as you said when you were talking about it, it screams hate because it's a draft mechanic. It's hate drafting to an experienced player. Whoever is at the back of the queue, basically, whoever is player 4 can be completely stuffed.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that. I've not found it at any point to be so hard. Like, even if I have been deliberately blocked from getting the easy ones that I could have completed very quickly, it may take me, one extra action or maybe 2 extra actions to do on top of that. So it's not like it's the end of the world, but
it's like again, it's not a problem at a 2-player to me, but in a 4-player, it's because you have to. The only way to get yourself out of that to do the slightly more difficult ones right at the start is, okay, I placed my 2 pieces. I have no pieces left, so I have to take a level 1 piece.
Yeah.
Then I have to upgrade it to a level 2 piece.
Mm-hmm.
If the level 2 piece isn't good enough, I've got to spend another action to upgrade it to a level 3, and it's another round.
So, I mean, that leads us on nicely to really talk about strategy. Like, as I've said, I have seen players go for the strategy of just hit those blacks to end the game as quickly as possible. Because obviously, if you're hitting the blacks, you are getting those higher points, on a quicker basis, but you're also having to spend more actions filling them. In the game we've just played, ironically, it wasn't in my mind to do it, but as it turned out that the strategy I'd employed in that game was to hit the small ones, getting 1 and 2 points here and there, whereas you were sort of doing a mixture of the two. You were doing the blacks, but you were also doing the whites. So
my strategy in that game we played was hit the blacks for the points. The whites I was going for were the ones that give you pieces.
So, I mean, that's another strategy. You could be going for the ones that are giving you different pieces, because usually if it's giving you points and a piece, it's usually a very basic piece.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's not giving you any points, it will usually give you an obscure piece that you might not be able to get any other way.
Yeah, well, you can get it right. The whole point of those ones that, they give you points, but a basic piece is it's expecting you to upgrade that piece.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that the game has strategy to it, or is it a real luck-based game with very little strategy?
There is definitely strategy to it. It is a game that could also very much suffer from analysis paralysis.
I would say that there is a risk of that in the game. Again, I've not seen anyone that has really had that issue. However, there are certain times it gets back to your turn and you're just sort of like, I've got 3 tiles in front of me, I've got these spare pieces, but one of those pieces I need on two different puzzles. Which one do I do first?
Yeah.
Because if I do this one first, it's going to give me this piece, and then I can do that one after, which will then, I can then finish on the next turn or whatever.
Yeah. And do I want to complete these, or do I want to grab more puzzles, or can I actually complete these puzzles? Do I need to start upgrading some of these pieces or downgrading? Because I think that's the other thing that I have seen people make mistakes on this one, is assuming that the level 1 and level 2 pieces you want to get rid of.
Oh, no.
It's like, no.
I mean, actually, to use the game that we have just played, there were multiple times that I struggled because I did upgrade my level 1 piece to a level 2, and then I was stuck.
Yep.
Because I needed a single cube.
Yep.
And I had none.
So I've got to use an action to get one.
Exactly. So, yeah, there is definitely strategy required in this game. But at the same time, I reckon you could play it without.
Oh, yeah, you could just random your way through it.
I don't think that you would be playing at a disadvantage if you were playing without a strategy. Because, I mean, we refer back to the very first time I played this game with you, James. You had no idea of how the game played. You ultimately agreed with me afterwards that you just didn't have a clue what was going on, yet you won.
Yeah.
So there is evidence that you don't need a full-on strategy in this game, which I think is...
Or a very basic one, complete the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about points.
Yep.
It's all about the points. Go for the points, complete puzzles, and you're golden. So is there anything else you want to talk about with the gameplay that you either do or don't like?
No, I think we've covered it all.
Yeah?
Yep.
So your main gripe with the game really is the whole scalability of
I think
how the puzzles come out.
Yeah, that's one of the things. It's basically because it disadvantages the person in the last position.
I mean, I think I would definitely agree with you. I prefer this game at a lower player count. This game thrives at a 2.
Yeah.
For me,
As a
2
versus.
and 3 players definitely is where I would like to play this game. I will play it at a 4. It's still fun, but it really plays to my strategic desire to play at a 2. For me, the only real thing that I would say that I dislike about the game is also something that I like.
Yeah.
Which is the way that the black tiles work and trigger the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because if you get someone who does just hit them hard, the game is over too quickly. Whereas if you get a load of players that don't even touch them and they completely drain the white deck first, the game tends to drag on just a little bit too long.
Yeah, it's like I said, to sum it up, it's at the 4 players, I just think this game unfairly penalises the person in the 4th player position. Every game I've played with a drafting mechanic that works well, drafting happens simultaneously.
Yeah.
So no one is disadvantaged by it. And the player order never changes. That's the other thing. So whoever is last is always last.
This is indeed very true. Okay, so final thoughts time, James. What are your final thoughts about Project L? Do you like it? Don't? What do you dislike about it? Who would you recommend it for? And is the game value for money?
So, like I said, on the whole, I really do enjoy this game. I think the actual gameplay side of it and the rules are very, very well thought out. I have that slight problem with the higher player count, just because I think it unfairly penalises the person in the last player position.
Mm-hmm.
Easy things could solve that. Like we've said, either a couple more tiles so that they're not unfairly penalised, changing the player order every round.
Yeah.
So that person is not always last.
I think one thing I would install actually that could potentially deal with that issue is rather than replenishing straight away, it gets replenished at the end of the player's turn. So if I pick one white, it doesn't immediately get replenished, because if it gets immediately replenished with another easy one, I'm going to take it. That's the other thing that you could do is like, okay, well, I've taken 2 and the last 2 that are there are a bit meh, so I won't bother. And then, the end of my turn, 2 more get drawn out. That might help just a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, there are lots of little things that I think could just solve it.
Yeah.
So, like you, I much prefer this game at the lower player count.
Okay, cool. And who would you recommend it for?
I would actually recommend this to anyone. It's got plenty of strategy to keep an experienced gamer happy and to keep the mind working, but it is stupidly easy to learn. So, a rank beginner.
This is lightweight as lightweight can be, I think. Yeah. No, that's definitely, I think I would agree with that. Like, I would recommend this game for anyone, especially if you are into the lightweight styles of games. Even if you're into the old heavyweight games, this game fits perfectly as a filler game.
It is a brain teaser.
It's a nice brain teaser, but it works nicely as a filler game for all levels. It's also addictive enough that I've found on multiple occasions we've played a game and we're even of this mindset tonight, I believe. I want to play another game.
Yeah.
It's short enough. Like, we knocked out a 2-player game in 20 minutes?
Yeah, I would add that I agree with that. 8 plus 1 to 4, 20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, I would definitely say 20 minutes easy for a 2-player game. And we weren't even power playing it. It was just a casual game. We were having a catch up because we haven't seen each other for a little while. So yeah, 20 minutes, spot on. 40 minutes for a 4-player game, possibly. If it's brand new players, add on 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Yeah, it's still less than an hour for a 4-player game. Really, really good. Addictive enough that you could then go, do you want to play again?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really good. Easy to reset the game as well. Is the game good value, James?
£22, I think it's pretty good value.
Spot on. Yeah, I can't quibble on the price. I think at the time I bought it, I paid something like £24, but I checked the prices today and the lowest I found them for was £22. Very good value for money, definitely worth having. It's going to be a collection keeper, I think, for me, because of the ease of play. The theme of it, is very, very loose, I guess. There isn't really a theme. It's a very abstract style game. The closest you can put to it is this is Tetris, the board game, while not being Tetris. But yeah, it's a nice little puzzle. I love it. So for me, I'm going to jump in first with my Meeple rating. I don't think you'll be quite as high as me on this one. But for me, yeah, gameplay, great fun, easy, and open to all players. 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I am going to be a bit lower than you, Jace. I'm going to go for a solid 7.
Nice.
Because it is a good game. The negative points are not enough to put me off it, but that 4-player bothers me.
Okay, well, that's fair. Then that's why we all have our own opinions on these games. So I'm quite a bit higher than you on that one, James, but I think the game is worth it. I do see your points on the higher player count, but I don't think anyone should be put off buying the game for those reasons.
For that. No, play this game at 2 or 3 It's amazing. I personally can't recommend it at 4.
Well, there you go. Have any of you guys played Project L? I know that this actually gained quite a good backing when it was initially on Kickstarter. I'd be interested to know if you feel like the Kickstarter version was actually better than the retail version, because there are a couple of additional rules, I believe, in the Kickstarter version. But yes, let us know on any of our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord server. Links to those will be in our podcast description. I think it's time to hand over to the man in the news shed, James.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Over to you, Paul.
I mean, your park isn't exactly exciting, is it? Petting zoos are fine and all, but there's not much else, is there? And they're all herbivores too. I mean, where's your big cats? Where's your carrion? Carrion? Oh, that's the name for birds that pretty much eat anything, or mainly meat, like vultures, buzzards, eagles, hawks, etc. Oh, okay, sorry, I know we don't like mentioning them. I said I'm sorry. It makes that wingspan deck a little thinner, though. You want me to do that with this Ark Nova deck, then, do you? Well, I may concentrate it a bit, and I certainly won't be building any aviaries from now on. Do you want me to pick them out, or is it going to give you nightmares again? Okay, I'll get the news read, and I'll get to it, chap. Whilst I'm doing that, you can reset the board if you like. Anyway, talking of Ark Nova, the first story may be of interest. You know what to do, hit that button, chap. One story that did slip my net a couple of weeks ago from Gen Con was the announcement of Ark Nova's first full expansion. And I'm not talking about that map pack that appeared for sale there, but a full-blown expansion that will be titled Ark Nova Aquarius. As from the title, Ark Nova Aquarius, the expansion will introduce multiple new water-based elements to the game, such as sea animals that each have to be played in new special enclosures that must be built adjacent to water. Roughly half the sea animals in the expansion are reef dwellers, and whenever you add a reef dweller to your zoo, you trigger the ability of all reef dwellers in it. One fear of ours on the announcement, considering the amount of cards in the base game and most likely in the expansion, was the dilution of the deck. This has been noted, and a new mechanic will be introduced, as all sea cards will feature a wave icon, and whenever it's revealed in the display, you discard the first card in the row, or in essence wash it away, and then replenish. Whether this will cause a cascade is another matter, seeing that one card you wanted being washed away under a slew of new cards appearing. Adding to the association action will be a fourth university, the Breed Registry, and if selected, you can claim one of 6 special universities from the reserve that feature one research icon and one of 6 animal icons. In addition to taking the university, you reveal cards from the top of the deck and keep the first revealed card with an animal icon that matches your chosen university. As for action cards, 4 alternate versions, each with its own little twist, will be available. These action cards will be drafted at the start of play and replace 2 of the standard action cards, adding a little more asymmetry to the game. For example, a new action is the build action, allowing you to spend 2 money once per action to build over a water or rock space, with the upgraded side of the card allowing you to do this for free. Also, the animal action might allow you to ignore one condition on any animal card that you are playing when you have the chance to put 2 animals into play. With all these new additions, obviously new bonus tiles and final scoring cards will also be included to make the most of the water elements that are being introduced. Upper Deck, not usually one for positioning for the spotlight, had a couple of notable mentions from the Gen Con floor. Alongside upcoming titles for its ever-growing Marvel Legendary line with the Black Panther, Black Widow and Infinity Saga sets, was an unlikely entrant into the Legendary Encounters line. Joining the likes of Alien, Predator, X-Files and Firefly games is The Matrix. That's right, the call for all players to wield their armless sunglasses and black leather trench coats as they take on The Matrix Legendary Encounters. The Matrix Legendary Encounters was being openly demoed across the tables at Gen Con, showcasing the narrative through a series of acts that will thrust players down the path and whole of the White Rabbit, featuring different parts of the original movie and trilogy overall. But if you were looking for movie transfer of artwork, you will not be seeing the movie renditions of each character portrayed across each card. The game features hand-drawn illustrations encouraging a different experience when facing the choice of a blue or red pill. Players will still see familiar characters such as Neo, Trinity and Morpheus, and not the Keanu counterpart. As a slight adjustment, players will be tied to their own characters, building a player-centric deck that supports the provided character's gameplay and special abilities. Cooperating against the system, with the chance to flex the perfect synergies across buying in cards, perfect for each chosen character. With Arc Nova Aquarius making its way up the Board Game Geek's hotness list, another game that caught my eye that hadn't before is a game called Revive from publisher Aporta Games. 5,000 years after everything was destroyed, it's the last remnants of humanity that need to revive civilization. So lead your tribe and explore the frozen earth, harness its resources, recruit surface survivors to your cause, build factories with powerful machines, and populate ancient sites to relearn your tribe's forgotten technologies. Revive is a game for 1 to 4 players with asymmetric player powers, highly variable setup, and no fighting or direct conflict. Playing through the 5-part campaign unlocks additional contents, and once all contents have been unlocked, the game can be replayed indefinitely. At the beginning of the game, each player gets a set of citizen cards, a tribe board, as well as a huge dual-layered player board. The tribe board shows your unique tribe ability and the ancient technologies that you may relearn during the game. The dual-layer player board is where you place your custom machines and upgrade your card slots. A main goal of the game is to reach and populate the large ancient sites. These ancient locations are randomized, and as they are important sources of victory points, they will shape your strategy differently each game. So on your turn, you take just 2 actions. You play a card, you explore, you can populate, or you can build. In addition, you may use power to activate any number of your machines, modifying your actions. Instead of taking 2 actions, you may hibernate. This will circulate your cards, moving your played cards to your resting area and releasing the cards in your resting area back to you. In addition, you regain your used power so that you may activate your machines again. The multi-use cards play an important role. Each card shows a resource and a special ability. Playing a card in one of your top slots activates the resource action, and in the lower slot you activate the special ability. You may install slot modules in these card slots, and these are activated whenever you play a card matching its colour. So it's possible to find combinations that let you chain cards together, triggering several slot modules and abilities in one action. Building factories harnesses the power of the surrounding terrain, advancing your marker on one of the 3 machine tracks. This may unlock machines that can be activated using energy. Reaching certain milestones lets you take an artifact from the main board. Each artifact boosts one of the 3 scoring categories on your personal scoring card. The game ends when all artifacts have been taken, and the player with the most points wins. There is a great blog on the development of the game over on Board Game Geek in the news section. The game itself will be on show at Essen this year, but no news yet as on a release date, although pre-orders are already up for it on the Matago website. We shall be keeping an eye out on this in the future. I'm heading on over to crowdfunding. All these 3 are available on Kickstarter at the moment. First up is Space Lion by Solis Game Studio. It's for 1 to 5 players, 30 to 60 minutes to complete, 12 years and over, ends on Tuesday, September the 13th. There are alien armies on all fronts. Take command of one of 4 asymmetric armies in a huge battle and deploy your units strategically and carefully. You can't possibly win all the fights on the battlefield, so choose which battles to resolve in which order, but weigh in on how it might affect your units and other battles. So in Space Lion, you are managing an army of 7 cards. Each round you will decide where to deploy cards to battle. Use your battle effects with careful timing to win the battle in as many lanes as possible. You can't win them all though. The player with the highest strength in a lane wins, causing damage to the towers or bases of another players connected to that lane. Destroy all enemy bases to win. Choose between 4 different asymmetrical armies with their own unique systems and concerns on the battlefield. Then choose a hero for your army. Each army has 7 heroes to choose from, which warp your strategy even further. You can pledge at £25 or $29 for a copy of the retail edition of the game with applicable stretch goals, or upgrade to the deluxe edition of the game for £51 or $59, which gets you a bunch of upgraded components, extra units, game insert and posters, as well as any applicable stretch goals for the deluxe game. Next up is Tales Story, a reverse deck building game by Tales Story Games. This for 2 to 4 players, takes 20 to 45 minutes to complete. For 14 years and over, ends on Tuesday, September the 20th. Tales Story is a reverse deck building game. Build your deck using other players' discard pile and force your unused cards to them. Each player takes on the role of a pet from one of 3 types: canine, feline, or rodent and friends. Your aim is to collect achievements to win the game. Players take turns and do whatever it takes to draw the cards from their own deck as fast as they can to compete for achievements to win the game. Each player is dealt 15 event cards to make his or her own deck at the start of the game. Every time a player runs out of his or her cards, the player shuffles all the cards in his or her discard pile to make their deck again. He/she then chooses 1 card from his or her hand and puts it face down in front of him or her. This is called an achievement. The player who gets the 4th achievement first is considered the winner. £21 or $24 gets the standard version of the game with all level 1 stretch goals, or $34 or $39 gets you the holographic version of the base game with all its relevant stretch goals. And lastly is CobbleCritters by Hollinger. This is a 2-player game. It's for 20 to 40 minutes to complete, 9 years and over, and ends on Thursday, September the 22nd. In CobbleCritters, you'll duel another tamer for control of the cavern, a mystical space filled with powerful crystals. In the game, you build 2 decks, a critter deck and a special deck, and you can always choose which to draw from. Critters are your monsters, while specials are a grab bag of tricky hijinks, trinkets, and rule-warping events. You reveal your entire 6-card hand every turn, giving the game's card play a fast pace. A player's board is a grid split into 2 areas, the hideout and the cavern. Players prepare their critters in the hideout and then send them to the cavern to battle for crystals, a precious resource that functions as the score. Critters have stats used for battle and a star rank. Critters can be upgraded from 1 to 2 and then to 3 stars to power them up. They also have card text that grants them a wide variety of comboable powers. Strategic positioning, clever deck building, and a pinch of luck are key to victory in the caverns. Pledge just £5 or $5 for access to the digital print and play files for the game, including a PDF short story and wallpapers. Or for a physical copy of the core set, including game board and tokens, together with access to all the digital resources, you can pledge at £34 or $39. Or go all out and grab the game, a custom neoprene mat, pins, stickers, autographed cards, and of course those digital files for £81 or $95. And we're on to local events, and why we say local is we mean local to ourselves here at Meeple Minded HQ. Just a friendly reminder up front to my own group's upcoming day in a couple of weeks. Sunday, September the 11th sees Mid-Sussex Meeples making a return after our summer holidays. Yep, Sunday, September the 11th will be back up and running at Cypress Hall, Cypress Road, Burgess Hill, RH158DX. We run from 10 AM through to 6 PM, offering you 8 hours of gaming space for just £5 per head. We have tea, coffee, squash for the youngsters or just the young at heart, and of course biscuits to keep that mental energy up. There's plenty of free parking at the rear of the hall in Cypress Road car park, and you can check out midsussexmeeples.co.uk for any more information and a local map. And as always, we're a bit awkward and we start our weekly events off on a Tuesday. Well, we release on Tuesdays, silly, so it makes sense. Yep, Tuesdays has Worthing board gamers congregating down at the Dice Worthing store from 7 PM until 10 PM. Location of the store is 24 to 26 Portland Road, Worthing, BN11 1QN. Just £3 per head for the session with food, drink, and with an alcohol licence you can enjoy a bevy or three whilst gaming. Wednesdays has 2 groups running. If you're in the Crawley area, Crawley Gaming Community is being hosted at the Comic Shop, 42 High Street, Crawley RH10 1BW. Gathering from 6ish onwards until close, just £3 per head there. Again, food, drink and an alcohol licence if you fancy some dizzy water with your dice rolling. Joining the Wednesday night groups, but a little closer to the coast, is at Brighton Board Gaming, also known as Board Games at the Barn, run by designers Team Custard Kraken. You can find them at the West Dean Barn, Dean Vale, Brighton, BN1 5ED. They'll be running from 7 PM through to 11 PM. It's free for new attendees and £2 from there on in. Thursdays sees 3 groups running, starting with Worthing board gamers, pitching up to the Ardington Hotel, Steen Gardens, Worthing, BN11 3DZ from 7 PM. Those of you further east can try Lewis Board Game Club at the Trinity Gaming Cafe, the location being Trinity Church, Arbinger Place, Lewis, BN7 2QA, running from 7 PM through to 11 PM. And coming back inland, we have Jake and Chris welcoming you to Dyson Drinks in Burgess Hill. Address for them is 79 to 81 Church Walk, Burgess Hill, RH1 59BQ. Entry is just £5 for the evening, for refreshments available for purchase in the shop. Relieving, to some extent, that Monday feeling is Crawley Gaming Club on Monday evenings. Running from 6 PM over at the Tilgate Community Centre, Shackleton Road, Crawley, RH10 5DF. Just £3 per person with drinks and snacks available for purchase on site. Right, that's that for this week then. You all reset for another game of Ark Nova. Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll get some positive points soon. You just gotta jazz your park up a bit. Don't just fill it with rabbits, donkeys and guinea pigs. I know you like them, but they're not going to score you a lot. Anywho, say goodbye to everyone until next week. And it's goodbye from me. Keep safe, Meeples. Keep those dice rolling, the cards shuffling, and we'll be right here for you next week.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. And thank you guys for joining us once again for another Game Highlight episode. This week we were talking about Project L. James, how do we think this one went?
I think this one went well, Jason.
Good, good. Have you changed your mind about the game in the last, 10 minutes?
No.
No, I didn't think so. The question is, James, we're about to sign off here, in the next couple of minutes. Are we going to end up pressing the end of the recording button and then set up for another game? That's the real question. But next week, I think, is going to be a really, really interesting episode because we have got another guest coming on the podcast, haven't we, James?
Yes, we have.
I'm really, really excited for this one. I've been chomping at the bit to have a chat with this young gentleman. That's a little bit of a clue, but you will find out who that is next week. Until then, James, time to say goodbye, because my name's been Jason.
And I've been James.
And you've been listening to the Meeple Minded podcast. Join us next week for more tabletop gaming goodness and our special guests. Till then, ta-ta, goodbye.